Hey yo, man. I called it. Yo. I told you that Lil Wayne, Wheezy F, Frank, what else does he call himself? Tunichi or something? Yo, I told y'all that he is not one of the GOATs. All right? He's a good rapper. Don't get me wrong. And as I've said before in previous videos, he got better with age. But Lil Wayne is not one of the best rappers of all time if we really go down the list. And I think that we are all seeing that right now. You know, I already predicted this in a video before. I'll put it up right here in the link. You know what I'm saying? Like, I already predicted this, yo, during the Super Bowl when Lil Wayne was sitting there saying, I'm sorry, I feel like I left y'all down. You know, he was saying that he let the city of New Orleans down and all this and that. And it was just like, man, you was messing up at a whole bunch of shows, forgetting your lyrics, doing your lyrics differently, all kinds of stuff, man. And then, you know, it's interesting, like we could go through some of these tweets, man. Right now, up here, I have the track list, but let me pull up some of the tweets. I know some of y'all are going to say Peter Rosenberg is a culture vulture, you know, Hot 97. I don't really agree with that, but I will say this, though. This take that he did right here, I do agree with, where he says, at his best, Wayne is phenomenal, but he is too often not at his best to ever be in the true GOAT conversation. Now, this is something that I have been saying for a very long time. And now as I go back and do my research, I don't think I've ever heard Rosenberg or even Ebro say something like this on Hot 97. I'm not sure, man. I think from what I can recall, I feel like I've always heard them say, oh, Wayne is the GOAT. He's the GOAT, man. He's the greatest of all time. Let me say this, man. I have never said that Lil Wayne is a top 10 rapper. He might be lucky, to be honest with you, if he's even in my top 25. I don't even know, man. I'd have to go back and like really look at the list. I mean, he's got a few tracks that I like. And as far as his album goes, there were a few songs on there that I actually like. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just reading the Twitter comments before I even listened to the album, which I know is something that you should not do. But I was just like, oh, curious to hear what everybody was going to say, because I know that there's just so many people on Wayne's nuts that are on Twitter. As a matter of fact, all the people that I got into debates with on Twitter, I almost want to go back and just check all of y'all right now. Just be like, hey, yo, see? What was I talking about? I told y'all. I don't want to be the one to say I told you so, but I told you so. You know what I'm saying? This album that he put out was trash for the most part. It was trash. Let's see what the people will rate it. I've seen some people give it 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. I don't even think I've seen more than 5 out of 10 from most of the people. Now, are these creditable sources? I don't know. But this is what the people are saying. Like I said, man, this album to me sounds like an album when you just have too many yes men around you. Like, you've been on top. You're a multi-millionaire. You're a very successful artist. You're on Universal, which is basically the major record company that owns all of the artists that you hear about. And he's definitely one of the top rappers on that label. Now, is he one of the top rappers on that label because he has the skills? Or is he one of the top rappers on that label because they push him to be? Who knows? I know, but you know. I don't know if y'all know, or some of y'all. I know some of y'all do know, but because I've said this before in other videos, in multiple videos, and a lot of y'all have agreed with me, so I thank y'all for that. But I got to say, man, this album right here is just lackluster, especially coming off of the Super Bowl and all the drama between Kendrick and Drake and just everything that's been going on. You would think that Wayne would have to really dial in and lock in and be super focused on this album. and he does not seem focused on this album. He is regurgitating lines like 18 Willa and just man. I mean, some stuff I understand, but that line that he said right there to me just sounded like you had nothing else to say, so you just basically said the same thing that you say in other rap songs. Don't get me wrong, man. He had a few on there that I liked. I actually liked the song that he did with his son. And, you know, that's going to be interesting to see where that goes. And then he also did a rock song. That's another thing. This album sounded like a rock album, or like he's trying to bring back another rock type of album. You know, he had that one song, though, that he did with like a Weezer sample. That one was pretty cool. I liked the way he flipped that. At first, when I heard it, I was like, what the heck is this? But then as it started going, I was like, okay. That one right there, to me, might have replay value. But overall, the beats on this album were average. To be honest with you, I don't even know if the beats were really even average. They were actually whack, a lot of them. He had a track called Hip Hop that didn't even sound like hip hop at all. Then he had his other track that was like, a shout out to LL Cool J, which was just also whack. He had one line in there too where he's talking about how he's a blood, or he had some song where he's talking about bloods and being a blood, and then it's just like, yo, man, you already got checked on that by other rappers. We don't need to go into details about that, but it's just like, man, come on, man. You already got called out for not being a real blood, and then this cat is rapping on his album like, this is on blood, this is on blood. I was ready to hear him say on Pyru. I was like, yo, is he going to say that? And then, you know, if he's going to say that, then we going to hear from Kendrick, obviously. But not only that, it's like, come on, man, you from New Orleans, man, which is cool. I'm just like, yo, isn't the whole Bloods and Crips gang banging culture supposed to be LA culture? Like, what is up with these rappers from other coasts? They're not even in the same state, yo. They're not even in California. Y'all are like down south and on the East Coast in the Midwest talking about what up, cuz, what up, blood? And it's just like, okay. I mean, I know 50 did that too, but I don't know, man. In today's world, it just seems kind of played out a little bit. But yeah, he even went on that route. And I just got to say, man, it's just real corny. It's real corny. Like I said, I really felt like when I was listening to this album that he must have had too many yes men in the studio with him that were just like, yeah, Weezy, yeah, that's it. And it's just, like I said, coming off of Kendrick Lamar's album G and X, you really got to come with it, because you could tell that, like, when Kendrick did G and X, that he was really locked in and focused. Whether you like the album or not, whether you into the beats or not, you could tell that this man is like locked in, razor sharp focus. With Wayne, it just sounded like the same, as I mentioned before, regurgitated lines, talking about how many women you get and how much weed you smoke and how much money you got and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, all right, man, we've heard all that. Like, are you going to say something of substance? Like, why don't you talk about the beginning of where you came from and cash money and all this and that? You know what I'm saying? None of that. I mean, I didn't hear that. Maybe I got to go back and listen again. And then everybody's getting upset and saying, what about Nicki Minaj and what about Drake? I mean, we all thought that Drake was going to be on this album, right? I'm sure there was a lot of us that were thinking that. I was thinking that. I was like, yo, if Drake is going to have to spit a verse, this would be the album. Now, I'm starting to have mixed emotions. Was Drake like, nah, Wayne, you go ahead and do that? This is you. This is your moment. This is your time. You go ahead and you do that. Or was Drake like, yo, this album is just so much trash, Drake and Nicki, where they just like, this is just such trash that I don't even want to put a verse on this album? I don't know. Let me see if I can find that beat that Cassidy made. Wait.
Not my goat. Not.
Combo, smoke 'em like double dutch. All you niggas jump rope, syrup in the double cup, two punch like knuckles. All my niggas up though.
So yeah, man, I don't know. I just wanted to jump on here and just rant real quick. I gotta say, man, I know that I've talked trash about Wayne before. I know that I have a video saying that Wayne is the reason why hip hop is trash. I gotta say, man, listening to this album kind of made me feel a little sorry for him. I feel bad now. I don't even want to say anything bad. I feel like dude might be going through a rough time, because just even the features, I was just like, yo, man. I mean, there was a couple dope ones. Like I said, I like the one with his son. That's what's surprising to me because I'm so tired of the nepotism in this game, in everything. But I gotta say, I was actually surprised that was one of my favorite tracks on the album was the one with his son. But the one with 2 Chainz, the one with Big Sean, Jelly Roll, I gotta go back and listen to that one again. I mean, I thought that one was all right. That was probably like in the top 3 out of the tracks that I heard. But it was nothing like amazing. It was just like, I was just like, a sleeper. It was a sleeper, man. I wasn't really into that one. The one with Wyclef, wasn't really into that one. Surprisingly, though, I did like the one with MGK and Kodak Black. Now, I thought that one, Alone in the Studio with My Gun, which is an interesting message, but I actually did like that one. That one, I was like, okay, I'm feeling this. I was waiting for MGK to spit a verse, and I thought, like, okay, is he going to say something about Eminem? Because we all saw that pop shit that MGK did where he's dancing with the mop at the car wash. We were just like, what the heck is he doing here? But I know that he was just trolling the internet. Smart guy. The dude knows how to market. But I will say, I was waiting for MGK to kick a verse. I just feel like, man, this album could have done so much. It could have done so much more, man. And the fact that Universal put this trash out just because it's Lil Wayne, we all know damn well that if this was an up-and-coming artist, an artist that nobody had never heard of before, this album would never have seen the light of day. It makes me upset in some ways too, man, that we are allowing this to happen. But, as I have said before, Lil Wayne is not a top 10 rapper. I have said this before, and I think now my point is more clear than ever. I am real hip-hop. I come from the real hip-hop. I know real hip-hop. And I will say again, after this, that isn't it interesting that after listening to this album, I also feel that I hear how he has inspired artists like, what's his name? Lil Baby, Young Thug, Gunna, all these rappers that are out there that are selling records, they're all Lil Wayne clones. So that was the interesting thing that I also felt from listening to this album was that I felt like, oh, okay, now I see that Lil Wayne did birth these MCs, so I can see why he calls himself the GOAT. But this is also my opinion of why you have ruined the music industry in some ways, because now we got all these clone-ass rappers who are whack, who are sounding like your whack ass on this album. You got to step it up, man. It's not real hip-hop. The song that you called hip-hop was not hip-hop. The beat had no elements of hip-hop in it. I didn't hear no break beat. I didn't hear no boom bap. I didn't hear no scratching, no DJ scratching. I didn't hear no metaphors. I just heard you talking about gang banging, Bloods and Crips, and rolling with your gat through L.A. Just because you represent L.A. don't mean you hip-hop, man. No, and you can't say, oh, what is saying Unk music? It's not Unk music. Me and Lil Wayne are about the same age, so you can't say that, man. No, this shit was trash. Wayne, you got to do better. I thought you were going to step it up. Some people are telling you to retire. Whatever. I got to go through my list and see if you even in my top 25. I'm not sure. But, yeah, man, y'all tell me what you think.